The Rivers State government says the Supreme Court did not make an order reinstating Martins Amewule and others as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly yesterday. Attorney General of the state, Agogo Ibroma, while briefing newsmen at the Government House in Port Harcourt, says the court did not also make findings on their status because it was not a question for determination. He urged the public to disregard the alleged false narrative that Martins Amewule and others have been restated as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly.
On the 11th day of December 2023, while suit number FHC ABJ CS 1613 was pending in court, Martins Amewule and 26 others defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress and automatically lost their seats as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. In suit number FHC ABJ CS 1613-2023, the question of defection of Martins Amewule and 26 others was not an issue for determination. Also, in the appeals that arose from suit number FHC ABJ CX 1613-2024, there was no question of defection whatsoever. Furthermore, while that suit was pending, and Martins Amewule haven't defected, they did not inform the Honorable Court that we have defected from the PDP. If they had done so, the court may have taken a different decision. Now, in suit number FHC ABJ CS 1613-2023, amongst others, the principal relief was on the appropriation law of 2024. Now, the appropriation law of 2024, as we all know today, is totally spent and cannot be brought back into operation. The appeal, that is SC CV 1701-2024, became merely academic, because you could not now on that case determine the fate of the budget that already expired. Now, the appellant in that appeal, in keeping with the time-honored practice of not wasting precious judicial time, filed a notice of withdrawal of his appeal and urged the Honorable Court to dismiss the appeal. Accordingly, the Honorable Court granted the prayers sought and dismissed the appeal. This is all that transpired in the court and nothing more. The Supreme Court did not make any orders reinstating Martins Amewule and the 26 others as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Neither did the court make any findings on their status as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, because it was like not a question for determination.
Well, for a deeper analysis, we have lawyer Oluyomi Adesanya. Good to have you here on Newsday. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Could you explain to us and our viewers why there's so much controversy that's been surrounding this decision of the Supreme Court? Could you clear it up for us?
Yeah, well, the controversy arose from the fact that there has been a lot of politics involved in this decision. In this matter, there's been a lot of politics, and it's all about power. And that is just the basic thing. And each party has always pushed a narrative that suits them. I think that is the most important thing that has happened. The Supreme Court did not make any pronouncements. True, the matter was dismissed by the Supreme Court upon the appeal by the appellants for withdrawal of the matter. That was exactly what happened. But then, what is the law? What is the current situation of the matter? The current situation is that the judgment of the Court of Appeal, the judgment of the Federal High Court, and the judgment of the Court of Appeal still stands, and that is the position. So it's a misinformation and misconception to think that because the court did not make a pronounced the Supreme Court, because that matter was not dismissed on merit. It was by the application of the appellants. They appealed. What were they appealing against? They were appealing against the decision of the Court of Appeal. That was the basics. That's the basics. And then the issue of the appropriation law and the budget, fine, it's overspent, it becomes an academic and a fait accompli. But then, that was not the only issue. The judgment they were appealing against did not bother only on the appropriation. It borders on some other matters, which includes the fact that the court has said that the governor cannot present the budget before a 3-member house. That was the decision of the court, the Federal High Court, and the Court of Appeal agreed with the lower court that that is the position. Because if you look at this, it's about the Rivers people are being shortchanged. We have about 12, the court said there's about 12.5% of representation. You cannot present the budget of a state before a 3-member panel. It is injustice. It is wrong. And that is the position of the law. That is what the Court of Appeal upheld, of which the government appealed to the Supreme Court. So the appeal was not decided based on merit. It was purely based on the fact that the appeal, the fact that the event has been overtaken, the matter has been overtaken by event. But that is just one portion of it. That is one portion of it. And one of the other, which was made by the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal acceded to, was that they should, the government of Rivers State should be restrained from the demolition of the building. And also, the government of Rivers State should refrain from not allowing the legislators to perform their legislative duties. Where is all that now? So if they are saying that it only concerns the budget, it's just a mischief, it's a misconception, and it is wrong, it is misinformation. To maintain that what the Supreme Court, because the court did not make a pronouncement, they appeal against a decision. And if you appeal against a decision and you withdraw your appeal, and the court dismisses, it means that you have already acquiesced with whatever the lower court says. And then they are bound to abide and to obey that court. We are in a democracy. Rule of law is the pivotal ingredient of a democracy, and not autocracy. And the court has constantly maintained that. The government of Rivers State cannot, in all ways and manners, present the budget before 3-member house. It is against every reason. It is irrational for the government to do that. And the court has maintained that. So now it's to go back to the status quo. What was the status quo? Is to go back and obey the court decision, which was upheld by the Court of Appeal. That is the position, correct position of the law.
Now, according to the Rivers State government, the case has been overtaken by events, and that is why the lawyers withdrew the case. So I'm wondering what the implication of this is on the political crisis in Rivers State, and also the fact that the Supreme Court reserved verdict on 4 other cases. What impact will that have on governance?
Well, it is the Rivers people that are suffering that will suffer it. Because there's a saying that when 2 elephants fight, the grass suffers. It's about power. It's about power. We all know it's about power. It's power broken. That's just the basis of it. It is purely politics. It is political. But then the decision of the lower courts, which was upheld by the Court of Appeal, should be obeyed. And what is the implication of that decision? The implication is that the government, whatever the government is doing, even the presentation of the 2025 budget before those 3 members of the House is null and void. Because the court has said that the governor cannot present that budget. And if you look at it, it is not only appropriation that what the lawmaking involves a lot of things. It is not just about the budget. What about clearing, nominating, and all of that things that they need to do for the Rivers people? Some people in Rivers State, some constituency, as we speak now, are being denied of that representation. These people, they are voted to make laws and do other things. So presentation of the budget, if you are talking of budget, presentation of the budget is just a minute, a small part of what legislative duties are. So it is not only about that. There are other functions which is performed by the legislature and which they are being denied. The Rivers people are being denied. And then you cannot, how can 3 people form a quorum? It is impossible. It goes against any reason. So that it is wrong. So we will implore the government of Rivers State to go back and obey the order of the court, which was given by the Federal Court, which was upheld by the Court of Appeal on this matter, and upon which they appeal to the Supreme Court.
So what should be the next course of action for both of these warring parties? How do you resolve the stalemate that's currently going on?
Well, because the governor has immunity, that is not in doubt, and then there's nothing anybody can do. But I think what should be done is to make sure that the government obeys that court order. Yes. That is it. Or they find a political solution to it. Because we all know what is going on. We all know there's a pro and there's an anti. So this is not in doubt. And we know that is the narrative. Each person is pushing the narrative that best suits him. But what is the law? What is the position of the law? That is what we are talking about here. You can't continue, the Rivers State government cannot continue to disobey the law, the court order. You can't in all honesty, continue. It has to obey that. It's clear. The decision of both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal is very clear. It's very, very clear. And it's here. The decisions are very... Let me read one of it for you. And the court made an order, and number 1, an order hereby made restraining the 11th, 12th, 13th, and 4th defendants, their servants and privates, under whatever guise of demolition continued demolition and destruction, under whatever guise of the building, structures, and development in Rivers State House of Assembly. The second order is hereby made restraining the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 16th defendants, their servants, agents, hirelings, workmen, in any manner or howsoever, from stopping or preventing the plaintiff applicants, which is the Amefule-led house, members and staff from having access, ingress and egress to the Rivers State House of Assembly. As at today, they are still being denied that access. The fourth order, another is hereby made restraining the 11th defendant from whosoever or in whoever manner make any request, presentation or nomination to the Rivers State House of Assembly, except to the Rivers State House of Assembly under the leadership of the second plaintiff as Speaker, which is the Amahele-led leadership. That is the correct position. This decision has not been overturned. It's here. I will leave a copy here. It's here. So that is the position of the law as we speak now. Let's leave all politics aside. Democracy and rule of law goes hand in hand. You cannot choose what law to obey, and then you cannot continue in disobedience of a court order, as the government is doing. The government is in contempt of the court, because these decisions, they hold sway. That is the current decision. This is the status quo. The decision is here. This is it. You have it here. This is the judgment of the court. Thank you.
All right. I would like us to talk about, politicians shopping, for court verdicts that will favor their position, and in some cases where we have conflicting court judgments on same cases, and then we also have the issue of not following judicial precedents. For instance, with this lawmaker, some people would say that the Supreme Court has already established it, that when you defect to another party, you lose your seat, especially if there was no division within the party. So I'm just wondering, how can such practices be curbed within the judiciary?
Well, the court has to stand up. The court has to sit up and then and make its stand known, and stop listening to politicians, because we all know how all these things fly around. You get an order from here, then you go to another court where you have influence, and then get the court needs to play its role as the arbiter in these decisions and stop forum shopping for shuffle for injunctions and for favorable judgments by politicians. The court should take its role, and there should be a complete separation of powers between the different arms of government. Judiciary is the arbiter, is the final arbiter in any case between the executive and the legislature. So the court should take its role and they refuse and mandate that once a judgment has been given, there will not be a conflict judgment. The Judicial Council needs to come up and then stop all these practices. And we lawyers too, we need to come up and stop all these practices that put the judiciary in disrepute and ridicule. Thank you.
So, knowing how the political crisis is already quite fraught in the state, what do you think will be the way forward?
Well, the way forward is for all parties to shield their sword, to teach their sword in the interest of the Rivers people, in the interest of democracy, in the interest of good governance, because the people are the ones that will suffer it. As we speak now, if you have about 35, 34, and then 3 people are making laws for the state, it's not okay at all. It doesn't speak well. It doesn't speak well. We need to grow this democracy. We need to allow this democracy to flourish. So one would think that I would suggest that there should be a political solution to all this, because as it appears, you can't go back to the Supreme Court. The matter has already been dismissed without any pronouncement from the highest court in the land. So let them, for the interest of the Rivers people, who will be the ones to suffer. Fubara is there today. Tomorrow he may not be there. The government is a continuity. So all hands should be on deck, and then the elders, the political leaders, should call them to order and then put a final solution to this and let peace reign so that the people can enjoy the benefit of good governance and democracy. These democracies must survive. It must work.
Now, so just to remove all doubts, I want us to be clear. I believe you have a copy of the ruling. Are you saying that the Supreme Court expressly pronounced that Martin Zamewule and his 26 other colleagues have been reinstated for the avoidance of doubt? Is it explicitly stated?
No. The matter was not decided on merit, as I said earlier. It was a dismissal. The people who appeal, the government appeal, and then they are the ones that say we don't want to go ahead again.
But I understand that what they were appealing against was for them to represent the 2024 budget. That was what they were appealing against, which they later withdrew, and that the court dismissed. So how does that translate to Martin Zamewule, being reinstated as a speaker? It's disingenuous to say that was the only decision they were appealing against. Okay, if that's the only decision they were appealing against, what about the court orders? What about the order of the court? Have they obeyed it today? Have they allowed the Zamewule-led leadership to resume? No. So where is that in all of this? So that is not the only thing they were appealing. They were appealing the whole decision of the Court of Appeal. From the matter arose from the Federal High Court to the Court of Appeal, which upheld the judgment of the lower court, and they were appealed to the Supreme Court. It is not only about the budget. It is not only about the budget. It is a holistic. The matter is holistic. The Supreme Court did not make any pronouncement on the Zamewule-led leadership, but there has been orders which was made by the Federal High Court and which the Court of Appeal upheld. Have they obeyed that? As of today, no. The government of Rivers is in violation of that order. Is in the contempt of that order. So if it is about the budget, which has become a fait accompli, which event has taken over, has become an academic exercise, then what about the other orders, which was granted? In fact, in one of the other, Justice Okon, who concurred, Justice Okon, referred to a bank in the Court of Appeal, lambasted the government of Rivers State in that judgment. It is here,
Have they obeyed it? No. So where is that in all of this? And the implication is that if they have not, they should go back and obey it and comply with the order of the court and stop being in contempt. Because that order is still valid as of today, since they have withdrew their appeal. That is the position.
Well, Oluyomi Adesanya, thanks for joining us and talking with us today on Newsday.